collision with Cool Guy. We've already got 4 people out of the race, 1 because disqualified. But back to the top now, and we've got Kev on lap 10, leading Pantera from racing up to from Jay's. From Gelato, Big Boy and Iron-Apple has made his way into the points. He hasn't pit yet, so he will probably drop out once he does. Nux and Freestyler, P9 and 10, who have both made their pit stops. They're gonna maybe go for an undercut, try to get ahead of Kev Pantera at the top. Then we've got BWS, Vertex, Gabby Y, or Gabri, and Vit and Havina. So Vit, after spinning early on, he's in P14. He could still easily get some points as Ash took his spin there. I just saw it on the minimap. And just going back towards the front, racing up to also as a penalty. I think that's going to be a 3-second corner cutting penalty. Let's go and have a look. What can Pantera do? It seems like he has a lot more ERS than Kev. Kev's just using a lot, maybe defending from Pantera. Pantera not having to use it because of the DRS. Gonna bring up the telemetry there just to see roughly how much he has. He's currently set on 15% and Pantera's on 71. So big difference there. Pantera having a lot spare, maybe wanting to use a bit before coming into the pits because you will gain a lot from the stop, and he just wants to maximize how much he has. We have he's a lot closer now than what he was quite a few laps ago when we were last on board with him. What can he do against Atom Kev now? It's gonna have the DRS. Will they stop or will they continue? It looks like they both will continue. Pantera maybe thinking about going into the pits there. Jays does, but he finally has the DRS and he looks like he has the run as Kev just doesn't have the ERS to fight, and takes the inside line and back into first position after losing it a couple laps ago. Very good from Pantera there. He was patient and just waited for the DRS, waited for Kev to run out of ERS and just made the move. They still haven't pit, and I think they will be after this lap. Jays rejoins quite a bit behind Nux. A lot more than what I thought he was going when Nux pits. So maybe Nux can make a undercut here, maybe take P1. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously I think they might be pitting this on next lap, the two of them. It looked like Pantera wanted to last lap, but just wanted to stay with Kev.
Yeah, or he could have maybe tried faking it, maybe.
Maybe his racing up to is quite a bit, just within that second, almost of that second to Kev. So maybe he was just trying to fake out up to just lose him and lose that extra pressure, maybe. As Kev dives into the pits finally on lap 12. And so does racing up to, so Pantera stays out for another lap. Those tyres would definitely be screaming. I'm going to see what Nux will do compared to Atom Kev. He's coming through the final corner now. Kev just around the pit exit. He's going to start to accelerate in a matter of seconds. I think he's actually going to get the jump on him. And he does. The undercut has worked. So this could mean Nux, as he just loses a bit through turn 1 there, running a bit of the curb. But could this mean that he can get ahead of Pantera and take the provisional lead, or no, take the lead of the race? Because I suspect Iron-Apple, Big Boy and Gelato will be definitely wanting to pit in the next couple laps. They're all on old tyres.
Yeah, the top 4 haven't actually made their stop yet, nor has Ash, so I think Nux actually might be on provisional pole at the moment.
Oh, provisional P1. Yeah, not pole, it's not qualifying, but
yeah. That's right.
all good, but yeah, he's definitely got that gap very much closed down to Pantera, and Pantera actually pits. He's got 23-second gap coming through the final couple corners. I think it's about 25-second loss in the pit lane. Pantera finally comes into his box. What will Nux do? Exits. It's a very short run for the Haas, obviously being at the end of the pit lane. What that mistake at turn 1 has cost him P1. He's going to have the overspeed. He's going to go down and they collide. I don't think he's got damage from that, but they definitely touched. And they touched a bit there. A bit of wheel banging going on. Pantera definitely defending quite a bit. Nux having no ERS and probably using a bit too much to fight this, but he actually does go into the lead. A lovely move around the outside, and I think Kev will follow him there. Oh, gone off it. No, he doesn't. Kev almost made the move on Pantera as well, but isn't able to. So Nux takes P1, or provisional P1, and followed by Pantera and Kev racing up to in provisional P4, and Jays is slot behind him. That's your provisional top 5, obviously, as Iron Apple, Big Boy, and Gelato haven't pit yet. I suspect Gelato will this lap as he's on softs, and he doesn't. He continues on, so maybe he's going for the one stop to the mediums, or maybe even to the hards. So Gelato could be a late drama fixture to this race. We'll have to obviously wait, see what he goes on to. But these top 3, these guys will be doing a one stop, and everyone behind will probably have one stop more to go, unless they want to stretch those mediums as far as they can. Definitely possible for Pantera, who's just pit. So we're gonna have a look towards the end of the race. Could this be another what is the word I'm looking for? Strategy. Genius from Pantera. Obviously Nux gonna have to pit. He won't be able to do 25 laps on medium compound tires. 20 was barely manageable. Could Pantera pull off this one stop on the medium compound tires? Maybe even Kev and Upda, who are behind, could they go the one stop for the mediums, or will they have to pit again for a set of softs? Will Gallardo go for a one stop and end up being a late dark horse, I should say, coming from probably nowhere? He finally pits. Let's see what tire he goes onto. If it's the hards, he's definitely going for a one stop there, and could be a late winner maybe. He goes for the mediums.
He goes for mediums, but
as I said, if Pantera could go on it, and he went the lap before, tires.
Probably. He was able to take the soft tires 15 laps in, so he might be able to just have really good time management. So he might be able to take those mediums right to the end actually.
Definitely, considering he's almost done half the race on those softs, he could definitely do half the race on the mediums. As we're about to reach halfway distance, maybe just about now, as we're heading to the middle of lap 16 hot. Looking Big Boy leading on those old medium compound tires from Iron Apple in the Williams. Not qualifying well, either of these two, starting on the mediums and putting in the distance. 15 laps for both of them. I don't think they'll pit anytime soon, maybe 5 laps and they will stretch soft compound tires to the end for 13 laps. But behind we've got Pantera leading from Nux. Actually, as I been talking about what Gallardo may be done, Nux has got lost a position to Pantera. Pantera retakes the lead. He almost goes wide. Yeah, so losing a lot of content from just talking about these midfield runners who could be dark horses towards the end of the race. Maybe have to watch out for them. Yeah, losing a lot of what's happening at the top. Maybe have to just stay on board with these guys, as there's a train of about 5 cars, or the provisional top 5. Pantera all the way down to Jay separated by about 2.5 seconds. So it could be interesting. This is a Bahrain, I'd say, remake where there was the top 5 of oh no, not New Jersey. He ended up crashing out. We had Pantera, Felix, Nox, Kev, and Kuga. And was that Kev? Kev went wide, and he drops to the back of that train.
He nearly lost it. I
Nearly
thought he
lost.
was going into the barrier for a second.
So was it just what he did on the formation lap where he just went a bit wide?
I think he car might have got a bit too light, probably coming up the top of the hill, and it just didn't settle right, and he went slightly wide. But definitely good control to keep it out of the barrier, though.
Yeah, and he's still within DRS of Jay's, at least for now. So it still remains a train of 5 cars. Maybe Nux losing a bit to Pantera now. He's outside of second. He's not going to get DRS. So maybe Pantera pulling away on those fresher mediums. 5 laps, the difference between Nux and Pantera. So maybe he's just using that pace advantage. Going to pull out a gap, which could maybe hint to him pitting again for soft if he can get that gap. Get the fastest lap and add an extra point to his name.
Yeah,
But he's still
every point counts at this stage of the season.
definitely, you want all the confidence having that gap over your rivals. He's going to want every point ahead of them, with the top or the other top guys who aren't racing or have already DNF'd in the race. He's going to take full advantage of that. He's going to want to make sure he puts it 3 for 3, and all the others are obviously going to want to make sure that they win and get valuable points to their name. Nux and racing up to, going side by side. Racing up to goes up the inside. There's a bit of contact between Jays and Nux on exit of turn 3. But racing up to now into provisional P2. Nux going to come back here with the DRS. He goes around the outside, brakes later, and he gets the move done and the position back. But Kev gets past Jays. Now Jays drops to P7. Kev ahead of him, racing up to it, and Nux, after a battle, settled to the positions that they originally were. Pantera on the back of Iron Apple now, the first of the traffic, I would say. Iron Apple not having pit yet. He's going to want to clear him as soon as possible, make sure that the guys behind don't catch back into DRS. We have a spinning Ferrari of Gabri. And what a move by Pantera around the outside into turn 14. Iron Apple losing maybe a bit of grip with those older medium tyres. And he's actually going to allow Nux to get in the DRS here. So this could allow Nux to join back into the fight with Pantera. Big Boy pits and he gets out of the way. So Pantera does take the lead now. And Nux, who has Iron Apple in the way, and he actually gets out of the way. Very good sportsmanship from Iron Apple there. Knowing that he doesn't have the pace, he doesn't really want to fight them and hold them up. These guys all leading, fighting for the win. But yeah, so we have up to P3. You can't make a move this lap either. Very close on the last lap. So showing that he does have pace over Nux, who still is running low on that ARS. He's finding it hard to gain back. All the other guys definitely struggling for ERS right now. All under 20% apart from Pantera, who's just sitting below 50. So he's looking in a very strong position, Pantera, again. Showing very big threat. And very early contender in this championship. Defending from Felix, who I believe is... No, Kev is second. And then Felix is in the next couple of spots, who's our last season's champion, and hoping to get some good points to the board, maybe make it 2 from 2. But yeah, so Pantera racing up to finally get some move done. Actually that they go side by side, and he goes down the inside. It's a replica of what happened before. Kev is going to follow, racing up to 3 on the outside now. Bit of contact, Nux loses it and loses the position to also Jays. But will Kev now get that provisional P2? He goes around the outside, Nux dives onto Jays. Kev moves up 2 positions from that to Nux, and racing up to moves into provisional P2 behind now Pantera. Racing up to stay P3, very frustrating for him probably. Finally getting past Nux, but getting overtaken by Kev in the process. And Jay's just moving ahead of Nux after there was contact between Kev and Nux, allowing Jay's through after Nux just kind of lost it on exit there.
And that was a interesting short battle there.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the end of it. They're all within a second. I reckon there could be more this lap. Racing up to just gonna desperately want that P2 after failing 2 laps in a row, or 3 laps in a row, sorry, and finally getting moved done, but then getting overtaken by Kev. He's not close enough on this lap. He's gonna be setting up for the next one. They're both on similar ERS, just sitting above 10%. Big Boy sets the fastest lap for 1:18.7. He's on the soft compound tyres, so I don't think he'll be going to the end of the race after going very long on the mediums. And we
you never know though if he's gonna take those soft tyres to the end.
Yeah, definitely. And if he does, that's going to send him into a good position, as I reckon some of these top 5 will have to pit again. Mainly being Nux and Jays pitting a couple laps earlier than the rest. And I reckon they'll just pit again, maybe for a later soft run. And Vit P14 now takes the fastest lap, 1:18.3 I think that was. Very good from Vit. As I said, P14, he's not had the best of races, losing it, I think it spun around turn 8 before earlier in this race, just dropping out the points after a pretty good qualifying for his standards. And he'll just want to keep that fastest lap, maybe just take away some points from anyone above, even if it isn't a point to himself. It's going to help him maybe close gaps later on. But yeah, as I was talking about before, Big Boy, if he isn't to pit again and the others are, he could definitely be a big threat. Same with Gallardo, as we were talking about before. And Ineapple, who is still yet to pit in P6. He's going to lose a lot of time pitting because he's on very old mediums. He's losing a lot of time. I'm surprised he hasn't come into the pit yet. He's definitely wanting to do a one-stop on those mediums to softs. As we're going towards the front again, racing up to, he's lost a bit, and he's just, I think, oh, and he actually loses it. And he gets a 10-second corner cutting penalty, which I don't think is right. I think he'll maybe get that removed because it wasn't his fault. But he drops to the back of that train. Well, not really a train anymore, but he just loses out, and Gallardo has disconnected again. So very unlucky for him. So someone who may be challenging for a late podium here has disconnected. He will want to join back as early as possible, as quickly as possible. As Nux, Jays, and Racing Up to all very close. The door almost open for up to there, but Nux just swings back, closes it shut, and they'll stay the same positions down into turn 5 now. Racing Up to very frustrated, finally Nux getting overtaken by Kev and then losing it, and now has a 10-second penalty to his name. Maybe gonna get that removed as he couldn't really do anything about it and he didn't actually gain any time from it. But as we're talking about, Kev actually does have a penalty of 3 seconds, so Jays will want to stay as close as he can to Kev, keeping to maybe take away P2 towards the end of the race. About 9 laps remaining as they come across the line. Kev actually kind of closing on Pantera in the last couple. 1.5 is the gap. He's going to want to close that gap as much, maybe hopefully get into DRS range. And as I was saying, Nux has now pit. He's going to go for a second set of softs. He's going to maybe take the fastest lap if he can. But Ash spins at turn 8, it seems like. He drops down to now P14. And the last of the people on the lead lap. But could that mean Jays is going to pit soon, or will he take those mediums all the way to the end? Will he risk the positions from pitting, then just to maybe lose 1 or 2 from staying slow and maybe losing a podium, as he's now outside 3 seconds of Atom Kev. Oh, he's not. He's almost outside of 3 seconds of Amkez, so he's losing a lot to those top 2 runners. Pantera still in the lead. That gap has come down another 2/10 this lap, so maybe in about 5 laps time, could Kev be in well within DRS range and looking to make a late move towards the end. Anything can happen here.
Well, especially with what we've seen so far this race, it's still pretty much an open deal, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. Magnum finally rejoins to retake control of his car. He actually lost position to Big Boy in all of that, losing about 10 seconds because of that disconnection. But yeah, definitely, as you were saying, the doors are wide open for anything. Any penalties can still come rushing through. Spins can happen at any moment if the drivers aren't careful. So just hoping, well, kind of wanting Kev to close the gap here, just give us a final sprint battle to the end. See who can take the win there. Nux gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. He's dropped down to P8 with that pit stop. He's gonna want to quickly get past the guys, and there's actually collision between Ironapple and Vertex into turn 4. It seemed like Ironapple and Vertex both collided, and Ironapple only just now rejoining the track, so losing a bunch of time after stretching those mediums that he started on about 21 laps. Actually no, they're very soft, so he stretched in about 25 laps. And there's actually 3 wide behind for P11. There's 3 wide between BWS, Vit and Havina. Havina and Vit still side by side going through turn 7. Maybe Vit will now lose the place after going a bit wide to BWS. He doesn't. He stays P12, and if people have to pit again and Nux does take the fastest up, as I thought he might, if Vit can get past Avina and someone else has maybe collision, Ironapple picks up a penalty, Vit could still take points here. And Ironapple's actually off, so this is now a battle for the final point, and Vit has taken it. Right now, Vit is in P10 and taking that point on softs compared to Havina's old mediums. So he has a pace advantage there, and I think that could be P10 for him, settled the move. Havina coming back with DRS now. And he looks to the inside, he doesn't make the move. A bit too far back there, and he might even lose the position to BWS, who has a little look, he doesn't go for it. But what could happen on this next DRS straight, BWS is very close to the back of him. He looks to the inside, he doesn't brake late. He sends Havina actually a bit deep, and he just sticks in P12 for now. Now switching back to the front and racing up to loses it to through turn 3, and has now lost that the close gap that he had to Jays. Has now gone to almost 2 seconds now, so he's not having a great race on those mediums. He spun and got that 10-second penalty through turn 12 into turn 13, and now just losing it through turn 3, losing time to Jays now. who's going to want to hopefully close that gap to Kev as much as he can, maybe just maybe getting on to that second step of the podium. Currently in P3, I don't think he'll make another stop with 5 laps remaining. But we'll have a look at what happens towards the end. Could Kev pick up another penalty, sorry, and make that 6 seconds, allow Jays to just have that extra room of comfortability? Or could Jays get a penalty and not worry Kev whatsoever? Pantera looking like he'll take this one yet again. 1.6 gap, he's extended it from the last time I've checked, and not having a penalty, so he could definitely yeah, as long as he's clean, I think he can take this one again.
Yeah, Pantera's been a pretty consistent so far, it seems. Haven't seen much mistakes from him.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only time I've seen him really make a proper mistake, and it wasn't even his fault, was when he had that collision with New Jersey, as New Jersey was entering the track at Imola and just kind of got in Pantera's way, having to stop for a front wing change, but then ended up being a blessing in disguise as the safety car came out and he came onto the hard compact tires and just went to the end of the race, having a 12-second gap in the end to Kev behind, and he's extended that gap a further 0.3 this lap. So he's going extremely well, and if he just stays clean, just not going wide, not pushing the track limits whatsoever, he will come home comfortably this race. He's got the pace advantage and no penalties whatsoever. He's looking very comfortable right now in that Haas, as he's getting pretty familiar with this season.
Currently on board with BSW. He's really close in behind Havina.
Yeah, he is coming through turn 13 now. He's on fresher softs. Then Havina is on mediums. But he goes a bit wide there, so he does get the exit he probably would have wanted through there. And he... Does he have damage? He's coming into the pits. Maybe there was a collision or anything. He gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Magnum disconnects yet again, but he comes in and it is for front wing damage, so very unlucky from PWS, kind of pushing the edge of the top 10 maybe if someone made a mistake, but now it's to drop far behind and is currently in P13 and joins the lapped cars. Vit in P10, he's on track for his first points after 2 very unfortunate DNFs, including a first lap crash but at the start of Imola. He's looking very comfortable, 7.5-second gap to Havina behind, and he's just going to want to make sure he doesn't spin or anything. Iron Apple in the pit again. He's currently in P15, so very after showing pace in Imola, he hasn't really shown it here. P12 in qualifying and just shown mistakes through this race, going maybe a bit too long on that first medium compound of tyre, and just setting himself up for the couple of mistakes that he's had towards the end. And Freestyler gets past Gallardo, who has disconnected. So he is in at full pace, obviously, as we have AI cars going a bit slower, just in case someone decides to go in AI. They will be slightly punished for that. And then Freestyler up into P7, taking a couple points away from him and his rivals. Nux in P6 after making a stop, pitting very early on in his first stint for the medium compounder tyres, and then pitting again. Currently has fastest lap. but he's just coasting, so he's not exactly trying to push onto the back of Big Boy right now. I'm gonna have a look. The fastest lap. Actually, Gallardo has it. I didn't see it, but Gallardo actually has it. A 1:18.1. So the reserve of Gallardo, even though he's in PA and having some disconnecting issues, he's gonna get an extra point for the fastest lap. It seems like, unless someone makes a late pit stop. But as we're gonna head on to the final lap, it seems like this Grand Prix has flown by. We're already going on to the final lap of the race now. Pantera currently P1 with a gap of, what is it, 2.4 seconds to Kev. 2.4 to Kev behind, so very comfortable position. He just needs to make sure he makes no mistakes through this final lap, and he will come home for yet another victory. Kev behind, he's going to hope that Pantera makes a mistake. That costs him over 5 seconds to get that lead with 3 seconds spare. Jay's currently P3, got a 6-second gap to Kev and a 3-second gap behind to Upto, who's just made a couple mistakes on those medium compounder tyres. But we have Pantera coming through the turn 9 that is there, and into turn 10 downhill. He's going into the final sector. He's got a 3-second gap now, so very comfortable. He's already started weaving, I think. I think he knows that he's got this win. He is weaving. He is weaving already. He's gotten through the final corner now. He started to weave a couple corners ago. He comes through the final one now. He doesn't lose it. Coming up to the line, Pantera makes it 3 from 3. The Polish kid in the Haas. He takes another win and does his celebration that Max Verstappen has done for the 2nd time in a row. He did the same at Imola, and very good race from Pantera there. Kev comes home to P2, and Jay's in the last of the podium position. So the exact same podium as we had in Imola has copied its way over into Portugal. Very consistent from these top 3 guys, racing up to into 4th after that 10-second penalty. He stays ahead of Nux, who's in P5. Big Boy P6 dropping down because of penalties. Freestyler in P7. Gallardo has the fastest lap and is in P8. So very good result from the reserve there. He's gonna definitely have proven himself with that pace. Vertex P9. And Vic coming around the final corner to finally score some points. He's going to be so relieved from that, even though it's only 1. He's going to be very happy with that result after probably not great luck. And we have Havina, the final car, to come across the line. P11. And he smashes into Iron Apple there, who was stranded on the track. What a race that was. As I said, really flew by.
Yeah, it was a race that definitely flew by quite quickly. You pretty much lost track of time and the laps, essentially, just with everything that was going on.
Yeah, considering it was 33 laps there, it didn't seem that many. It seemed only about 25 or something like that. But again, very good race from Pantera, showing his dominance in this league, and that's now 3 from 3. And showing early signs that he means business in his first season in Div 1 at least. And yeah, he's definitely going to carry this momentum through to the next couple of rounds and probably to the end of the season. He's got a commanding lead. He moves to now 45 points in the championship. Very unlucky from likes of Felix 1, Cool Guy and Kavudi, people who could probably be challenging at the top of the grid, all got caught up in incidents at the start of the race. But as we said, Pantera wins, and that's been another week of PAFR Division 1 on these Sunday nights here in Australia and New Zealand. I hope you can join us all next week after an exciting race. And yeah, we'll see you again next week. Thank you guys.